Legion, hi. This is my movie review for Mufasa, The Lion King, so prepare for that. I just want to say, as someone who is a Lion King fan, obviously, because, that is for people who were born in the 90s, that is an essential part of our childhood. I had to owe it myself to see this movie. And I'll be real with you, I did not know what I was getting into when I watched this movie. I knew we were going to get a Mufasa backstory, but I knew that there had to be some type of twist on it because I knew there was a twist between, the kinship between Scar and Mufasa, so I knew there was in it. And also, the sad part about it is that I knew that at the end of this movie, it was going to be a bittersweet ending because by the end of this movie, we get the relationship that Scar and Mufasa had at the beginning of The Lion King. So I knew it was going to be bittersweet about that. So along with that, I'd say the story of it was very good. I never heard the story. I don't know if it's in the Lion King mythos. I don't know if the directors made it original, but story was good. The soundtrack, amazing. Don't know who did the soundtrack, but again, they nailed it right out of the park. Classical Disney soundtrack. And with that being said, let's get into the plot of this movie. So we start off with Simba addressing, his kingdom, the whole entire circle of I know it's not called circle of life, but I forgot what it's called. You can't call it a pride because it's not full of lions. It's just full of every animal and all that. And you see, he talks to his daughter Kiara, which is who we meet in Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. There, he says he's gonna tell Kiara to stay at Lion King Pride while Timon and Pumbaa are babysitting her and all that, while he goes meets Nala somewhere else. Not gonna say what they were doing or what's to be expected because I'm gonna save that till the end though, but it's worth it. So Kiara meets with Timon and Pumbaa, and to pass the time, Rafiki tells him a story of Mufasa. Mufasa when he was about Kiara's age. And you see, it starts off with Mufasa traveling with his parents, his mother, his father. They're not at Prize, I believe that's what his name. They're not at Prize Rock. They're just wandering the place and all that. And they always tell Mufasa about a land where a land that most people think that it's just a myth and all that. Something to tell the little cubs and all that. And it's a really friendly journey. It's you see a family happy and all that going around singing songs and all that. Typical Disney movie. But obviously there's tragedy that has to strike. While they were at a swimming hole, or I want to say a drinking hole because a lot of the animals there that were drinking water there and all that. You see Mufasa was playing around and all that, but then the swimming hole or the water hole just started flooding more and more, right? Now I'm thinking in my head, he either gets lost or he loses both his parents and becomes an orphan this way and all that. And I was halfway right because while the hole was filling up and he got washed away, his parents got lost to him and all that. So he wandered on a branch for who knows how long until he wound up in a lake and all that near I want to say land. And this is where he meets a new cub, Taka. For those of you who know Lion King mythos, you know who Taka is. Not gonna spoil that. So Taka and him become very fast friends and they bring Mufasa back to their pride and all that. And now the king is he's very, I'm just going out right to say, he's very much an asshole. He does not like taking in strays because he feels that's going to be a threat to the kingdom and all that. He basically doesn't like anyone that's not his blood or part of his pride. So he makes a deal with Mufasa. I was about to say Simba. He makes a deal with Mufasa. If him and Taka could run to the dead tree and back, if he can beat Taka in a race, he can stay along with them, but he will only stay with the females. And what do? Mufasa beats Taka in the race. And while this has happened, you kind of see the bond between them and all that. They're already fast friends and all that. And Taka says that I always wanted a brother and all that before he even wins the race and all that. So I was about to say it again. Mufasa, this is a Mufasa story. Mufasa wins the race and they show the relationship between them when they're growing into almost full grown lions and all that. Now while Mufasa and his surrogate mother are out on a hunt and all that, she notices that Mufasa has a very keen sense. Like, he can smell things very far away, he can hear things very far. He kind of has like a very good, I can say, spider sense. So while he's on this hunt and all that, Taka is sneaking behind them and all that. Now, Taka really loves his brother. He does. And again, like I said, they are like, they are thick as concrete. I don't know if that's the right term, but like basically they are damn near like inseparable. They consider each other brothers, even though they're adopted brothers and all that. And also Taka's dad is the lead of the pride and all that, so Taka is the line to become king. So Taka is stalking Mufasa and Mufasa's surrogate mother, which is Taka's biological mother. While stalking them, they see another pair of lions who are like white as snow and are very large and all that. So Mufasa and his surrogate mother, they fight them off. They manage to kill one, and the other one runs away. But Taka's watching on this, and he runs away. Another hint to his character. Now, I'll say this: while he did run away, because again, he run away, but like it's understandable because Taka's never hunted. He's always been shadowed by his father. Even though he wants to be as strong as he wants to be as strong as Mufasa, who's hunted every day. I understand why Taka ran away, because he's never hunted. He's never actually been in a fight before. So they come back to the pride. Mufasa tells them about like the lions and all that, and his wife, not the his surrogate mother, the king's wife, who is Taka's mother and Simba's. Again, I keep saying Simba. Mufasa's surrogate mother backed him up on that, which is the king's way of realizing that, hey, this guy saved my wife and all that, so I gotta give him respect and all that, despite the fact I've been dogging this dude ever since he showed up here. He sends a scout out, and it turns out they had a whole lion's pride, double the numbers of Mufasa and Taka's pride, and definitely a lot larger and more sinister. Hell, the king there, he literally like when when the runaway, the one that got away, when he came back, he's like, so you guys got into a fight, the other one died, and you ran. You a bitch. To make matters worse, the one that died was the pride leader's son, so you already know he wants it back in blood. And to make it worse, he had the one that got away. When he came back, he had his whole pride tear that dude apart. Now, obviously, since it's a Disney movie, they ain't gonna show up, but you obviously know because I didn't see that dude the rest of the movie. So Mufasa and Taka's pride, the Pride King, he tells Taka and Mufasa that they gotta leave because Taka is his only son. He is the last of that bloodline, and he needs to go out, start life. They need to leave. Doing so, you also realize that this is that the ones that are hunting them, right? I'm gonna call them snow lions. The snow lions that are hunting him. You realize that there were always rumors about like a pack of lions that were hunting around, like taking out other prides of lions, and so they can become like the top dog, the apex predator of the lions. So before Taka and Mufasa leave, his mother comforts Taka because she saw that he was there. She saw that he ran, but she understands that she tells him that your time of courage will come. You will have that moment. Basically, like I said, she knows she froze up. And again, like I said, at this point in time, I understand why he froze up. He's never been in a fight before. And then you have his father who comforts him, telling him that we understand, like I understand that you ran away and all that, but let's keep this away from the other pride and all that because they don't need to know. So at this point, only four people know that Taka ran away. There's Mufasa, Taka's father, Taka's mother, and Taka himself. While his mother is comforting him, saying that don't beat yourself up from running away, your time will come. His father is saying that keep this secret away because of your cowardness and all that. kind of good, yin yang type of thing. Even with that, his father says that sometimes to be a king, you need deceit. As he said before, there's always time for deceit within king's position. Another hint to Taka's character, foreshadowing. So Taka and Mufasa go on. They run into another lioness, Sarabi. Sarabi's pride was hunted by the same snow lions that they had. They got separated, but on her way, she had a guide, which is, I'm sorry, I had to pause. I forgot his name. Zazu. Zazu was her guide, and if I don't know if I heard it right, but I'm pretty sure, yes, Zazu said that Sarabi was a princess from her pride. So they start traveling together, and while this is happening, we see another character come into this place. The guy who's telling this whole story, Rafiki. Turns out that he got exiled from his group, and so he meets up with them and all that. And you know how Rafiki is. He's a witch doctor. He sees a lot of things. He tells them of the land that they're supposed to go to, the one that Mufasa, his parents tried to get them to and all that. Which we know that this, whatever land they're talking about, is going to be Pride Rock. Or at least the future Pride Rock. We know that. So they start traveling together and all that. They're starting to very get close. Like, you actually feel the bond as all these people are coming together and all that. So you got a whole team of 5 and all that. Simba and Sarabi, I said it again. Mufasa and Sarabi are getting closer. Taka is trying to figure out a way to get close to Sarabi, so he asks Mufasa like for advice. And can I tell you how much of a wingman Mufasa was? Like, this dude gave him so much advice, but I'm sorry, but Taka, he just did not have any game at all. Which, again, I can't fault him for that because, I mean, let's be real. The only women that were around his pride were his mom and his aunts. I don't know how family trees work in lines, but I'm just gonna call those other women his aunts. But yeah, bro had no game and all that. And then they go and so they travel more. They run into a herd of elephants and all that. And along with that, oh, good news! The snow lions show up, and the elephants start rushing and all that. So it becomes a panic of not trying to get squished and all that. Mufasa saves Sarabi, and while that is so, though, Mufasa, again, being a great wingman, says that Taka saved her. They move to the snow mountains, closer and closer, and I'm thinking that, oh, this is going to be bad because since they're white as snow, they're going to be using the snow to their advantage, so ambush them and all that. Turns out, Mufasa is a very smart, clever fellow. He uses smarts and says, Zazu, go behind us and cover up our footprints so they can't track us on. And it works. The snow lions actually could not track them with their footprints, and because it's so cold up there, they can't catch their scent. But it was also during this moment where Sarabi finds out that Mufasa is the one that saved her from getting trampled by the elephants. So they get closer and closer, and while this is happening, guess who just happened to watch them as they go into, as they sing a song about how much they love each other? You guessed it, Taka. And I'm like, oh great, this is another wing when he comes to his villain arc. Oh, remember how I said foreshadowing about how his father told him about the seat? This is where it comes in. He goes to the snow lions, offers up his allegiance so that he can kill Mufasa. Which also, this kind of goes back into the original Lion King. Well, not the original Lion King, but the Lion King the live action Lion King that came out a few years ago, where I'm not going to spoil that because I was about to spoil Taka. So Taka offers his allegiance to Mufasa because, Mufasa took his woman, and you see Mufasa took Taka's girlfriend. Well, supposed girlfriend. I mean, come on, man. She wasn't even yours to begin with. So, while they're going through this mountain, Taka leaves a mark of where, the snow lions can follow. I also forgot to mention that during this journey, while Mufasa and Taka were leaving the Pride, the snow lions actually caught up to Taka and Mufasa's previous pride and slaughtered them. I also gotta say, the villain in this movie, like I can't remember his name, the one that was leading the snow lions, bro. He was a great villain. Like he was so menacing. Like, tell me what? Now I don't know. Now I'm not well versed in all Disney movies, but like I can't remember one last villain who sings a whole song about how you're gonna die, and one of the lines, one of the lyrics in the song is "Bye bye." Again, different kind of menace. So they get to the promised land, the one that Rafiki said he had visions of, the one that Mufasa's parents talked about, and it's everything we ever wanted. Like, it's Pride Rock. Like, all the animals are there, but just as usual, there's always something to muck it up. Snow lions appeared, and that's when Taka reveals his betrayal and all that. Now, during this fight, Sarabi and Rafiki gather up all the other animals that are within the vicinity and all that, telling them that you guys, like, even though these guys, because, again, like I said, you figure out that this pride has been well known to go out and wipe other lion prides and all that, and they just kill anybody who gets in their way. So all the animals are afraid of them and all that, but it takes Mufasa, Sarabi, and Rafiki to gather them all up, saying like, if we stand together, they won't do this no more. Yeah, they might be scary, but we got the numbers and all of that. Like, it was literally like an army of these guys against like maybe a good handful of snow lions. So while Mufasa is fighting against the pack leader and all that of the snow lions, Taka actually has second thoughts about like killing Mufasa and all that, because again he starts realizing this guy is my brother. I can't just betray him like this. And a lot of people are like, how is he gonna forgive him when you just literally betrayed him with his life and all that? In a way, I kind of see it as what Joker said in The Dark Knight. In their last moments, people reveal to you who they really are. So Taka, realizing that Mufasa can actually die, he chooses to save him, and I'm guessing that's why we forgive Taka. But again, though, this is an origin story, so it's setting up pave stones to what's going to be in the future. So while the pack leader of the snow lions has Mufasa dead to rights, about to take him out, he's about to claw him, right? Guess who comes in between? You guessed it. Taka comes in between that slash, and he gets a very noticeable scar on his left eye. So the animals are taking out all the other lionesses and all that. The pack leader is fighting against Mufasa and all that. And again, this is when I tell you that Mufasa is actually a very smart dude with his senses. They fall into like a small little cavern of water and all that. And you see a big boulder size, I'm going to call it a boulder. A big boulder falls into the water. Mufasa, using his senses, feels the pulses of the rock of the boulder in the water, like on some Daredevil shit. He senses that, moves out the way, and then the pack leader gets crushed right underneath it. He swims out the water. He damn near runs out of breath, but guess who comes in to save him? You guessed it, Taka. Another thing we're saying people show you in their last moments. So Taka once again comes to Mufasa's aid, but doesn't stick around long enough to share in the glory because he knows that his betrayal is probably never forgiven. So while he comes out the cavern, all the animals come around him, worship him as king and all that. But Mufasa, being humble, he doesn't want to be seen as king. But Rafiki, being another good wingman as Mufasa was to Taka, tells him that it's not how you feel, it's what you are, like what you do. Some type of guru type of shit like that. So Mufasa accepts his role as king, but also there's some good news here. Rafiki tells him that there's someone that wants to meet him here. Mufasa uses his sense of smell, as he always did, smells a very familiar scent. Not the smell of trees, not the smell of grass, another smell of another lion. He runs very close. Turns out it's his mom. His mom survived all these years. She found Pride Rock a long time ago, and she always knew that, like, Mufasa was out there somewhere alive. Sadly, by this time though, his dad had passed away, and this is where Rafiki. This is where we pass the line that he lives in you, as Mufasa's biological mom says that Mufasa's father lives within him and all that. And it was also during this time where Taka comes back into play, asking Mufasa and everybody for their forgiveness and all that. Because, like I said, even though he did betray him, he did come back in the end to defend Mufasa to his last breath and all that. And again, he has that scar. Big, big hint. So, while Zazu tells Mufasa he should banish him, Mufasa declines, saying that as long as I'm king here, my brother will be allowed here too. But I will never say your name again, which, to dishonor him, to remind Taka of what he's done, he calls him Scar. And at that moment, we get to the point where, like, we see the iconic scene of, like, how when Simba walked up to Pride Rock to do his mighty roar, Mufasa does the same. And again, this, like I said, this is bittersweet because we see the relationship between Mufasa and Scar, because again, it did end bittersweet, as it should. Because most people would think, like, oh, so, like, if he does that, then how does he forgive him? Which again makes a lot of sense, because at the beginning of Lion King, we saw that these two were already on not so good terms at the moment. While Mufasa loved his brother, he still looked at him saying, like, step out of line. I dare you. Kind of that one sibling who, comes back to family but always, like, around trouble and all that, so it seems like you gotta watch him, like, you the CEO and all that. So again, I think that was a perfect way to do it, because like I said, their relationship was left uneasy. Yeah, I forgave him, but I will never give you the benefit of the doubt again, is basically how I will summarize how their relationship ended by the movie. Then we go to present day. Rafiki finishes telling Kiara about her grandfather, sees that Simba and Nala are coming back because they were going to meet at a certain point and all that. Nala comes back with, like, her lionesses. Turns out Nala was pregnant with another baby male cub, and the movie ends with Nala about to tell her baby brother about the story of their grandfather. Which, if someone knows anything about Lion King mythos, is it true that Simba and Nala actually have a second child that's a boy? Because honestly, that's news to me. I always thought that he just had a daughter and that was it. And his daughter grows up and marries Kovu. So again, a very good story. Original plot, I don't know if that's actually in the Lion King mythos. Very good plot. The soundtrack, classic Disney, phenomenal soundtrack. I'm sorry, it is, but again, this might be controversial, but I don't care how many soundtracks Disney releases on their movies, nothing is gonna beat Tarzan's soundtrack. Phil Collins is that guy. So I'm gonna rate this movie 10 out of 10. Original story, great. Soundtrack, phenomenal. Definitely go see it. Also, tell me what you guys think. Till next time.